Next on Magic One.
During online dating, women are afraid of meeting serial killers, while men are very, very afraid of meeting fat people. It sounds funny, right? And that is the feeling. Now, I want you to know that in most cases, it is upon this fear or these fears that when we meet the right people, or when we meet that Mr. Right and Miss Right, we feel blessed. But most unfortunately, along the way, we start seeing flaws, we start seeing fouls, we start seeing mistakes, and all these start making us to lose out, start losing hope. You start almost giving up. At some point, you even start comparing this your Mr. Right, your Miss Right that you once met and thought she was the ultimatum of the beauty, the epitome of everything so wonderful, as someone who is full of faults. And it is upon this that I want us to have a detailed discussion today on how you can sustain a relationship. My name is MC Shugga. As usual, it is the glory of love on your number one TV, that is magic1tv. Just like you see me here seated, looking drippy. I've been styled and designed by Miro Brian. Miro Brian always making me look drippy. Sometimes he gives me so many clothes to the point that I get confused on what to pick. But yet again, my sweetheart, my fiancée, Beatrice Abigaba, also helps me to sort out and say, honey, put on this, put on the other. And that's the reason that's why I'm looking so great. And right where I am seated is at the OJ's Motel. OJ's Motel is a home away from home. I always tell you guys there's a lot of service here. Just like I can tell you, check it out. Look at what we are showing you right about now. At OJ's, you can come and get yourself a very nice room like this one I am seated in. And then check out our sauna, check out our meals, check out our hot spa, steam bath. All those are services for you. You can always come and spend a night here, even if a week. It's all in your hands at OJ's. We guarantee you your safety is number one. Your security, your privacy is always top notch. So trust me, it is the place to be. It is where you can always come and catch a lot of fun here. If you want to make bookings, reservation, you can check the number on our screen right there. And then it is located in Bunga. You won't get lost once you get that number. Holla at the people and they will always take very, very good care of you. And it is at this point that I want to send special shout out to Mr. Oboy. Thank you so much for everything. We appreciate and we are always there with you. Anyway, just like I told you, a relationship is only sustained with perseverance, and there's a lot I have for you. So many guests on the show that will be coming to give you their opinion on how you can actually sustain this relationship. And that is the reason why I want you to stick right there. We are going for a short break and a breather, and when we return, more details about how to sustain a relationship here on The Goal with me, MC Shugga, the King of Hearts. Well, to be particular, we were still at the verge of talking about what we called how to sustain a relationship. And this is at this point I want to bring you the guests that I have on the show so that we can first of all see what their opinions are. These are people who have been in relationships, who are in relationships, and so they are really the right people. They know exactly what it means to sustain a relationship. You know, most times we have this short list. Oliatekawo list y'ebintu oba signs ezino kumulaga, like what particulars of a person that he or she would love to fall for. And at the end of the day, trust me, none of you has ever got 100%. Meaning that you will always get to some point and then forego other qualities. Will be like, I want a man who is tall, I want a man who is dark-skinned, I want a man who with a bald head, I want a man with beards, and then I want a man who is rich. I want a man who is, at the end of the day, you want to get all those qualities. You may get around 7 out of 10 or 5 out of 10. So that means if you finally admit and say, let me just go with him, you have admitted and said, let me forego the others and go with this. So what does that mean? There is always a lot that you need to put in plan to make sure you sustain a relationship. No relationship is perfect. Let's see what my guests have to say and what their opinion is on how to sustain a relationship. And I will be returning later after the opinions to give you my own opinion. But before we get our guests, I want you to know that we are always on different apps where you can actually follow the show, where you can go and watch more of the show other than the TV show right here, right now. Go check us out on your TV. Go look out for the channel, The Glory of Love. You'll be in position to get more information right there. And then you can also go on Freedom Flix. We have an app called Freedom Flix. Just go to your App Store or your Play Store, download the app, install it, subscribe, and that will be all. As long as you have data, you will access our channel where we have the show airing every day at 2 p.m. and then at night at 10 p.m. During the course of the day and the rest of the other days, you can have a lot of music, lovely music. Check it out on the channel. Trust me, you will be having a lot more fun. But we are also about to extend to other apps, so just watch out. Stick right there because we have a lot for you always. It is the goal. With me, let's check what our guests have to say about how to sustain a relationship. Get back shortly.
Well, I think the first thing you need to think about is why you got into the relationship at the first point, And I think this is critical for every relationship. Sometimes people get carried away with the rural urban excitement. They get into a relationship because she has wide hips, or the guy has a deep voice, which for me are non-issues. Or I'm trying to look for a very polite word. I don't want to offend. But the point I'm trying to make here is when you get into a relationship, a long-lasting commitment, you need to have reasons as to why you're getting into this relationship. And those reasons shouldn't really be about the body or how someone sounds, blah, blah, blah. Because at the end of the day, the sound is going to change. At the end of the day, they're going to eat themselves into wolves. So at the end of the day, you think they're no longer attractive. And then you start sleeping around or looking for better people.
If I fail to take someone out, maybe my wife or my girlfriend outside, maybe to Cafe Javas or another place to have KFC. And when maybe she's interacting with her friends, the friends tell her that, you know what, for us we went to this place, we had fun, then she'll be like, maybe I made the wrong option. Yeah. And they always forget that the instance why they started relationship. Okay. You start relationship when you are aware that there are highs and lows. Yeah. There are things that you are going to meet on the way. Yeah. And most especially, it's all about how you attack, how you tackle these problems you get in relationship. You just remember why you started. Why did I have this guy?
Before you go in a relationship, you'll have to know that there will be ups and downs. And for you to be committed to someone, you should be ready to face many problems. In case I find my guy having those habits and the relationship is being boring, there are many stuff that you can try out. Maybe you call your guy, then you talk about it. Okay. For example, if you find that he no longer gives you time, maybe you find out what keeps him busy. Okay. Yeah, love is all about commitment and understanding. You should know that if the issue is that you always find it boring because he's always out, he comes back late, you'll have to find out and say, oh dear, what keeps you late? At times we ladies, we do judge guys without knowing what takes place outside. Okay. So I would advise that instead of judging your guy without knowing what keeps him outside, what's making the relationship very boring, I think you would sit down, have talks, and I think also finding ideas from different people.
When you get into a relationship, you need to first of all write down 50% of the things you're looking for in a person. Once you get those 50%, you can either grow it to 70% with an extra 20, or 10%, which is reasonable with time. And the 50% rotates around, one, the values that you're looking for in a person. Two, can this person be your friend? Can you sustain a conversation? Is this someone that you can tell about your day? Is it someone you can open up to when it comes to secrets of your life? Is it someone who has given you the comfort that you're even willing to share your phone or your PIN or things that would be private or intricate, you know? If that person hasn't gotten to that level, then I think you need to slow down on getting into long-term commitments.
The rationale or the solution to that, these two, they have to sit together and they try to find out the solution. The wife shouldn't attack the husband because maybe he's becoming alcoholic. Force can't solve force. The two need to sit back. They talk.
When you talk about relationships, it takes a lot. Sometimes it's not about cooking. It's not about being good in bed. It's not about doing. But by the time you marry someone, you've studied the person. You know what they are capable of doing and what they are not capable of doing. For example, that's why we always date. Take some time, get to know this person. But if you feel, because sometimes people are not perfect, they don't have everything it takes. It might be good in this one, might not be good in the other one. But in a point, in a case when you feel, I need this person, then it costs you nothing to teach them. Tell them if something is not right. If she doesn't know how to wash, teach her how to wash. She doesn't know how to cook. There are so many catering schools these days. Take her to school. If you know how to do it, cook, teach her yourself. When it goes to bed, there are so many things, but of course sometimes you tell her, this is how I want it to be done. Exactly. So that at least you try and keep the relationship, because no one is always perfect. They might be good in this area, then they might not be good in the other area.
Sometimes when you see that you're too high, like you've educated, you have a job, and you marry someone that has not reached that level that you've taken, sometimes you can try to lower yourself down so that you can cope with her.
So when you try giving a guy so many chances and he's not willing to quit his bad habits, what do you expect me to do? Like, let's be honest.
Like, how many chances would you give a guy?
A guy, I think 3 times is enough for you to take. Price, yeah.
Every time you have challenges in a relationship, when you feel you're sort of losing the steam, sometimes it's good to revisit why you got into the relationship. What put you there in the first place? Was it love? Was it lust? And sometimes if it is lust, it's best you call it off, or you'd rather be clear. And I think this is something that I've adopted over time. I'm brutally honest with people, and I'll tell you, this is what I want in this relationship.
If personally I find my guy cheating, and I would call him when I find out. I tell him, you know what, shugga? Sorry to say that. Or, okay, you know what, dear? I found out that you're doing A, B, C, D. And it's not right. I'm really hurt about it. If in case you're doing this because I've done something wrong, I think let's settle this rather than opting for going on with someone else.
Okay.
The first person who must be happy in your life must be you. You can't give what you don't have. You can't give happiness when you're sad. So it's important for you to be happy, choose your happiness first, and then chekola choka, you know? Yeah.
Learn how to love each other. Find ways on how to overcome these circumstances whereby the boring scenarios, and always one thing you should put in mind: do not allow a third party to think for your relationship.
You have all heard how they have talked about the ways of how you can find a way to go around some of these hurdles. The relationship is never smooth. We always have the good, the bad, and then the ugly. So when the ugly comes, you have to really fight so hard to see that you stick, because there's nobody out there that lacks the ugly. There is always that ugly version. You may actually find someone who is having the ugly version, and then you run away from them and find another one who has uglier than ugliest. So like Solomon always says, my producer, he says that it is always dangerous for us to fall into a relationship or fall in love. It is better you walk into a relationship. Or rather, run, maybe, but don't fall, because when you fall, that is when you actually find yourself in big trouble with people you meet, and then you're like, what the hell is this? You know, usually when we meet people and fall for them, what makes us fall for them is their physical, their hardware. And then by the time we start involving and getting deeper and deeper into this relationship, by the time we start drowning into this relationship, then that is when we start realizing that actually this person is lacking some software. Or maybe they need to be switched. They need some software upgrade. And how you get them fixed is now the question. Some people look at it as a baggage, and then it's like, this one cannot be fixed. Let me just run away. But I'm telling you, running away won't save you anything. You will always go in circles. We say what comes around, actually what goes around comes around. So you run from one person to the other, but for how long? And remember, I always tell you that when you run from a relationship, get into another one, you have just gone back to square one, because you are going to start afresh. Everything you had already surpassed with the other previous person, you're going to have to go through that again. So is there anyone who goes to school and then is about to graduate, and then they say, let me go back to year one? If you were there, then you're crazy. And it is right now that we want you to know that there's nothing that cannot be fixed. So there are a couple of things that my guests have talked about as flaws that you can actually accept and put up with. And I believe most of them are talking from their points of experience. Each one of us has that one person. You have that woman that you love the most, but she has this character that you hate the most. But you cannot run away from her, but you can put up with her. How do you put up with her is what matters the most. Now, it is at this point that I want us to talk about a few of the ways, of some of the things that you can do actually to put up with some of these characters that seem to be so terrible. And I'll talk about two items here, but I'll only capitalize on one. One says, be dependable. Being dependable comes back to you as the person who is actually feeling that you're not with the right person. And you who is also in the situation, that's the two of you. It takes the two of you to be dependable for this relationship to flourish. And on top of being dependable, you have to be affirmative. When I say affirmative, be positive. You know, most times when we meet people, we are all heads over toes and heads over, you know, we're not seeing any fault. We are only looking at them as the perfect person. But what happens in the long run is we begin seeing fault. You find that your girlfriend does not know how to cook. Maybe she managed to cook some of those snacks. She could fry an egg. She could prepare chips that you could eat so easily. You know, those fast foods. But now here is the time that you have to face the reality. She has to cook a meal for your entire family, your relatives. And now the food is not tasty. And the people are complaining. Are you also going to complain as a man? We are saying no. Just be affirmative. Accept that now she cannot cook a perfect meal for a big family. So you're going to have to get for her help. Someone who can substitute. At least let someone cook the nice food, and then she does the serving and takes the credit because she is your best half. And I want you guys to know one thing, that when your woman is faulting and she is full of flaws and people are laughing at her, they are equally laughing at you. Her fault is your fault as well. You don't want her to be faulty, so you're going to have to depend on actually defend her everywhere she goes. So what you have to do is be affirmative 24/7. Whenever someone is complaining about her, be the one to step in and say, no, she wasn't the one that did this. I believe she can do better than this. And then in your free time, spend some time trying to take your woman through the lecture, through the prep, through the drill of how to do what she is doing wrong the right way, so that you can fix her. Because she is the one that you're going to stick with for the rest of your life. Most especially if you guys have already moved a bigger step in this relationship. You have already spent a lot of your time together. You don't want that to be wasted time, right? So you have to stick together and fix this. And sometimes you can actually forego. And you say, you know what, honey? The fact that you don't know how to cook this and this kind of meal, let's not have this kind of meal anymore. Not because you don't want to have that nutrient. Maybe if you want to have that as part of your meal, you can buy it from out, already cooked or something like that. As long as you can keep your sweetheart feeling secure, feeling safe with you, because that is the guarantee you have to offer her. Trust me. And it is the only way she is going to feel comfortable, at peace with you. So being positive is the key element here. Try as much as possible not to always find fault in her. Some of you, that is where you go wrong, and that is where the fights come in. That is where now you think it is not the right person to stay with. That's when you make her actually feel like running away. You are her only source of comfort. You are her only source of refuge, where she will feel that, yeah, I'm with Mr. Right, simply not because she is perfect, but because you have turned your expectations into appreciations. You know what I'm talking about? So try as much as possible to appreciate this person. Make sure they always feel wanted. Make sure they always feel that they are the right people around you. What they cannot do, don't look at it so much. Don't focus on it for blame. Why always blame game? Blame game. You didn't do this right. Didn't do this right. If she cannot wash your clothes right, engwe zitwalire dobbi. As cleaning a bulungi ozikomyewe wakanga ziri clean wono fulumanga onyiridde, they will say your wife did the right job. And yes, it is her, of course. You know what I'm talking about? If she doesn't know how to iron your clothes very well, please let someone else iron, but still keep the credit for her, because she is you. There's no difference between you and her, and she will do the same for you. So you guys need to learn to play safe defense for her, so that she always is the right person you are sticking with. Sometimes you find your sweetheart doesn't know how to lay the bed, or maybe even to the extreme, she is not good in bed. Now that is the point where one of the statements that our guest said comes in, right? Why don't you take her for lessons? Why don't you teach her yourself if she's not good in bed? Teach him, teach her where to touch you right. Teach him where to tickle you right. Teach him or her how to start up the situation. Tell her, sweetheart, you know what turns me on is when you first whine for me, you dance for me, you start by kissing me on my neck, you start by playing with me, let's have some jokes around. I like it when you come and lie on my lap. Some of you keep quiet, you think it is by reflex. Some of these things are not out of reflex. You really have to talk and tell her, you know what, I want you to do this. I want you to do this to me. I want you to touch me here. I want to sleep on your laps. I want us to watch this and this movie. Did you know, you guys, in relationships, did you know that when your husbands are out there or your wives are out there, sometimes they go and watch these movies to get these lessons, yet sometimes you are the expert yourself. Karate bwakoma onga mukugu, you start asking, "Yee honey, ebyo wabijewa, wabize di. Are you crazy?" So what you have to do is teach her yourself. Make her know how to handle you, because if she goes out there and learns it from someone else, or maybe on a movie, or maybe through YouTube, and then that might be applicable for that person in particular, and then for you it may not be working. I don't know whether you want that to happen to you, but if you don't want anything weird to happen to you, teach her the right way to treat you. Customize her so that she only knows how to handle Solomon, full stop. You understand what I'm talking about? Otherwise, in the interest of time, we cannot talk the whole day. I know these are some of these things are things that you already know. Shugga. Okay, well and good. I was just reminding you anyway. But if you didn't know anything, you know that you can always check us out on all our socials. We actually have extra information for you, because this show only lasts for a short time. Some of you have been complaining, strictly 30 minutes, but we always have more information. So you have to go check us on our socials. Just like I told you earlier on, we have this Freedom Flix app, Flix with Flix. Go check out the shows that are there. Every time or every day are longer than this one here, so you can actually get more info, detailed info, more action. Sometimes we even demonstrate and show you how to touch somebody, show you how to do the ABCD. So you don't want to miss on this. You go on your TV as well, check us out, and soon we shall also be jumping on other apps that you can easily access on your mobile, so that the show is everywhere you go. because you are always with your mobile phone. Otherwise, it has been the Glory of Love on Magic 1 TV. Before I close the show, I want you to know that you have to always be reminded or know that a heart in love has no boundaries or limitations. My phone is ringing. I believe this is how we do it in OJ's Motel. When there is information, they'll always call you room service. Yes, hello. Yes, room service. Okay. My food is ready. Wow, thank you so much. Let me come right there and have it from that side. Okay, thank you. That was Laura, and this is how we do it here at OJ's Motel. Always at your service. We told you this is a home away from home. What are you waiting for to come and have part of this fun? Well, allow me sign out at this point, and here we go so that I can go and have my lunch. I sign out.